of his career, played in all 17 regular season games. He was huge in the postseason, recording, this is before the Super Bowl, 417 scrimmage yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 playoff games. And then, of course, you get the stats you just saw there in the Super Bowl. Okay, so a lot of decisions for Kenneth Walker. Potentially could go back to the Seahawks, or look, he's going to hit the market there. What teams could potentially pay him? How much would they be willing to pay him? Taking a look at the highest paid running back, Saquon Barkley with the Eagles. They're sitting at the top, a little over $20 million. Pete Prisco, give us your thoughts on this. The Seahawks deciding not to tag the Super Bowl MVP.
I think it's the right decision. And again, it goes back to my philosophy on running backs. You draft them, you run them into the ground and get another one. And look, he was good in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. He had a good playoffs. But he was splitting carries last year for most of the season with Zach Charbonnet before he got hurt. So he clearly wasn't the bell cow back that everybody wants to portray him now, since he had such a good playoffs in the Super Bowl. In fact, his agent, who lives down here, David Cantor, I've known him a long time, was on the field after the game celebrating the MVP and was basking in it. And he said, what do you think? I go, what do you think you're going to get on the market? And I said, well, he's not better than James Cook. And James Cook didn't get $15 million a year. So, I mean, let's be real. Is he better than James Cook?
This is on the field at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You are unbelievable.
Well, I got a random.
He's not better than James Cook. He's not better than my guy.
He's not better than James Cook.
What does the agent say at that point?
He goes, well, he's up now. You know, he kind of blew
the agent's just short circuit. Like, they don't know what to do.
But the reality is he's not better than James Cook. And so there will be a market for him. Don't forget.
So what's he worth to you?
What did
you saw that list?
Javonte Williams just got.
Yeah,
what?
can we see the list again?
Javonte Williams just got, what, 12? I think he got a
year. So you don't
year.
think he should 13, be paid as a top 5 runner?
13.
Hell no. Top 5 runner? No, absolutely not. He's not a top 5 runner.
All right, there's your top 5.
Okay, he's not better than Barkley. He's not better than McCaffrey. He's not better than Henry. He's not better than Breece Hall. And he's not better than
So put him at $13 million.
Yeah, he's at 13. That's what James Cook said. $13 million.
And you know what? I think the point that Pete made about him splitting carries with Zach Charbonnet, it goes, you know, unappreciated, underappreciated. When you're splitting carries, you don't necessarily have to be out there being the bell cow all the time. He got to do that in the playoffs, and he did a great job. Super Bowl MVP. I mean, it's evidenced in that. But to be able to do that for the entirety of the season, that's going to take a lot more. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in Seattle, because Charbonnet will be back up there. They'll have 2 running backs. But there's a number of places that could use a guy like this running back.
There's no question. There's teams that are running back desperate right now and need a guy who can carry the football. So there's going to be a market for him. There's going to be a market for Travis Etienne as well. And there would have been a great market for Breece Hall had he hit the market. But the reality is what are they going to get? And I don't think they're getting to that $14 million per year.
And Breece Hall is more than a running back.
He can catch the ball out of the backfield.
And Breece Hall was tagged by the New York Jets, the franchise tag, one of 4 players who were tagged ahead of the deadline. Daniel Jones got the transition tag. All right, for Kenneth Walker, best landing spots. Pete, go.
Giants. I think when you look at what Harbaugh wants to do, and we don't know where Scadaboo is coming off that injury. We don't even know if he's the guy that can be the lead back for a team. He's a nice complementary piece. I don't know if he can be a lead back on a consistent basis, so you need another one.
Yeah, so you got Scadaboo going right up the middle, Walker bouncing it outside. Huh?
That's perfect. That's the way they run.
Going to be ready?
That's another question. How healthy is he? I mean, he was beat up pretty good. That was a bad leg injury, and how healthy is he going to be? So I think the Giants would make sense. We know what Harbaugh wants to do. He wants to run the football, and if you can get a guy like Walker, I think that's ideal for them.
I mean, I love this. I mean, they're getting Matt Nagy. They've got a young quarterback who at times can be a bit heady, and everybody's like, hey, get the hell off the ground, Jackson Dart. They've got a running back in Cam Scadaboo who's got an addiction to, you know, hammering his head into the wall pregame. He's a little unstable, kind of guy that I would love to block for. But you know what's great? Having 2 of those types of guys, Kenneth Walker, taking the load off of Scadaboo, keeping Scadaboo available, keeping Jackson Dart off the ground. I think that would be a good one. If they don't go him, Jeremiah Love at the 5 spot, get another running back in New York.
See, personally, before I would pay Kenneth Walker, if I were the Giants or any other team, I'd go into the draft and find a guy like the running back at Nebraska, Emmett Johnson. I think I'd find a guy like that somewhere down the line back who could come
Solid.
in. Yeah, good player. Not a great player, but will give you good.
Now, the one that's really spicy to me, the landing spot that's really spicy to me, and I think the straw that stirred the drink in Kansas City was their physical running game. I think about a guy like this ending up in a place like Kansas City. Eric Bieniemy back in the building for the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to be with an unhealthy at first Patrick Mahomes. They're talking about him coming back early. Your offense is going to need to lean into that run game. They do not have the stable in Kansas City in the running back room right now.
Don't you think Travis Etienne fits the Chiefs better than Kenneth Walker does?
I think he could. I think Travis
Etienne catches the ball out of the backfield.
Remember Jerick McKinnon?
Yeah.
So Jerick McKinnon, like I would say Etienne is like a mile past McKinnon, but they come from the same tree. They can do it all.
Yeah.
Third down back, first down back. They need those guys in droves.
Yeah, I think Etienne would. You hear rumblings that Etienne might wind up in Kansas City.
Okay, Kyle, you're also going with the Cardinals.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, I think they're getting rid of Connor. They're blowing the whole thing up pretty much in Arizona. And what's one thing you need? You're going to need somebody to run the football, keep you on schedule first and second down. Whoever the hell's playing quarterback there, it'll be nice to have a guy like Kenneth Walker.
Okay, going back to your whole Trey Hendrickson wants to go to a winning team. How attractive is that, going from a Super Bowl winning team to the Cardinals? You don't know who your quarterback is going to be.
Either way, behind him on every Zoom call is the Super Bowl MVP thing and the Lombardi Trophy. So, I mean, you get to go win at the top of the mountain, and then you get to go build something up. I think it would be a cool experience. And also, Arizona is good living in the wintertime.
And you get paid.
What are the chances that even though the Seahawks aren't using the tag on him, that he returns to Seattle?
I could see it. Sometimes these things fall through, and the numbers, the dollars and cents of it all doesn't make sense league-wide, and then you end up saying, well, your locker's going to stay the same next year. I'm not sure what the fiscal end of it would be, but they'd be happy to have him back.
But here's the thing with the Seahawks. What's the strength of that football team? It was the defense. And when you look at their free agents, Kobe Bryant, the safety, unrestricted free agent. Woolen, the corner, unrestricted free agent. Job, the other corner, unrestricted free agent. So I think ideally in their thinking is, we'll use our money on our defensive side of the ball, try and keep as many of those guys as we can, as long as it doesn't get unreasonable, and go win again with defense, and we'll put another
Go get the guy from Nebraska.
You draft him, you run him into the ground, you let him win Super Bowl MVP, and you let him walk.
You sit him right here next to us.
It's taken you a long time, but you finally have come through with that.
Is that him like realizing it, or
he believes in it now.
Whatever? I will say, reports from local New York media, they are interested in getting another running back along with Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah, that's what Pete thought that the landing spot should be. The New York Giants for Kenneth Walker, first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since Terrell Davis of the Broncos.
One of those isn't like the others, by the way, and Kenneth Walker is that one.
Pete.
It isn't like any of the others.
He just celebrated.
He's no Larry Zonka.
He's not Zonka. Larry Zonka's a Hall of Famer. Harris is a Hall of Famer. Riggins is a Hall of Famer. Allen's a Hall of Famer. Otis Anderson was a great back that year. He wasn't. He just had a lot of good games.
Remind me when
Emmitt
I
Smith
need
is a Hall of Famer. Terrell Davis is a Hall of Famer. And Kenneth Walker will not be. I can guarantee you that.
Hall of Fame anyway. A player who's not on that list, Trey Hendrickson. Look, there was so much drama before the season began. They ultimately agreed to a one-year deal around $30 million. That was 14 more than he was earning. But now, free agent, potentially. What potentially could the price tag look like for him, Kyle Long, and maybe some suitors?
I feel like this is the conversation we have every year with Trey Hendrickson. Look, I mean, pass rushers make the world go round because it's a quarterback in an offensive-driven league. In order to do that, you have to have somebody with a sword big enough to cut the dragon's head off. Trey Hendrickson, very good at that historically. So if you're a team that doesn't have the juice, it's going to be worth it to have a guy like Trey Hendrickson. Might get you over the top. I'm thinking about teams like Chicago who have been in need of a pass rusher. They've paid guys. They haven't got what they wanted. Maybe this guy, Trey Hendrickson, is the one this year.
The thing about Trey Hendrickson is he's 31. He's turning 31, and he's coming off core muscle surgery, which limited him to, 9 games last year. And so there's always a concern when a guy starts getting older and you get injured. So you got to be careful with the contract. I think how you structure the contract will be interesting. It might be like a 3-year structure, might be 5 years over the course of the contract, but you structure it where you can get out of it after 3 years, because by then he'll be 34 years old. Can he still rush the passer? Absolutely. Can he still have teams like Chicago, Buffalo, who went out and got Bosa last year, went out the year before and got Von Miller, it didn't work? I mean, maybe a team like that. Jacksonville needs edge rush help. I think when you look at teams that need edge rush help, they all will explore the possibility of getting Trey Hendrickson. And here's the difference. We talk about Crosby with the Raiders possibly being on the market, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. You get Trey Hendrickson, all you got to do is pay for him.
Right.
You don't have to give up draft picks.
But who would you rather have?
Crosby's a better player.
And
Depends
younger.
on your
and
2
years younger.
Right. He's younger, and he's a better player. But you're also going to have to give up
more
assets, whether it's be a player and picks or picks. You're going to have to do that to go get him. So it's different. This guy's free on the market.
How much? If he was making about $30 million. I mean, obviously, look, we saw all of the drama with the Bengals before the season began. We got tired of talking about it. I mean, give me a price tag for him.
I would give him a big price tag, but I would say in order to get all of the juice out of this orange, you got to reach X amount of sacks in year one.
Are you going to put some incentives in it?
Because you dangle that stuff in front of players during the sit down at the table with the cap guy and your agent. And your agent's like, "Are you good for 12?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm good for 12."
See, but
that's how you end up with a good deal, because then you get a player who's trying to earn that deal, a team that's trying to make that deal fit their roster and their number.
See, if I'm his agent, I'm not taking that deal. I'm going to take this team, that team, pit you against each other, and I want 40. You give me 40, close to 40 million a year, 38.
He's
37.
got money. He doesn't want to be on bad teams anymore. This Bengals team, they're not going anywhere as they currently stand. He wants to have an opportunity to go win, just like our guy in the desert, Max Crosby. Hell of a player on a terrible franchise the last couple of years.
Yeah, message to player: you can't spend that ring when you're later on in life. You can spend that money, by the way. Go get as much money as you possibly can.
Wisdom over there from Pete Prisco.
They sell rings on eBay.
Kyle
I don't see people
Long.
selling money on eBay too much. Well, I guess they do sometimes.
What? Okay,
You can buy money on eBay. You got to go looking for
Hendrickson
it.
on the open market now, so you can go out and you can bring him in. You mentioned you have to trade for Max Crosby. You got to get something up there. Another edge rusher is also on the trade market. The Vikings reportedly open to trading Jonathan Grenard, who Kyle says reminds him of someone he knows very well.
Yeah, well, I talk about these edge rushers a lot, and obviously I grew up in a house with edge rushers. And my older brother, Chris, who had a ton of sacks and a ton of pressures in the National Football League, he always says, this guy, Jonathan Grenard, reminds me of myself. And that's a huge compliment coming from a player.
Very big compliment.
And he's one of those rushers that kind of sneaks under the radar. He's on the cusp of being elite. And you look at the numbers every year, the guy has production. Now, he wasn't healthy for a large part of last year, but whoever gets Jonathan Grenard at this point in his career is going to get a real winner, and I think he's worth his money.
Yeah, but he only had 3. You said he only had 3 sacks last year. He was hurt. 2 years before that, he was very good rushing the passer. So which one are you getting? And when you look at the Vikings, they have cap issues. They have major, talking about releasing Aaron Jones. They're going to release Hargrave. They're going to probably release some other guys to get under the cap. That's why this guy's free. Also, Dallas Turner last year started to flash big-time ability the second half of the season, their former number 1 pick. So I think this makes him expendable, and it makes sense for them to try and peddle him around the league. What are you going to give up for him? That's the question. He's 28. I think he's going to be 29, so he's not an old guy. He still has some good years left in him. But what do you give up for a guy like this? He's a good player. He's not a great player. And so is it a 3? Is it a 4? Something along those lines. I think the Vikings would probably take either one of those draft picks for him.
We're talking about guys that are 28, 29, 31 years old that are looking to go to another team, get another big contract. And today we hear of a 27-year-old player who made his first Pro Bowl, who's just up and retiring. And it's from your Chicago Bears, Kyle. Drew Dahlman, the center, is calling it quits at the age of 27.
Yeah, I don't know much else except for the headline, because we were sitting right here at the desk about 10 minutes ago when this thing came rolling across our feed. And it's just, it's surprising. But then again, he's a Stanford guy, and these guys that went to Stanford, the men and women that go to Stanford, they're in a better place, than a lot of us. So I expect him to have a good plan. Look, he took less money to go to the Chicago Bears to play center, and he had a tremendous amount of success in that offense. He made the Pro Bowl, as you just said. That was his first one. You would imagine a guy like that would want to stick around, but obviously we have to respect his decision, and we don't know everything that's going on.
Yeah, we don't know if his body's breaking down. Maybe he's got some issues that are bothering him. He can't get out of bed in the morning. You played the game. Sometimes it's hard to get out of that bed. Now, you look at that check, and it's probably a lot easier to get out of that bed. But look, he was a guy when they signed him. A lot of people around the league were wondering if he'd fit in that Ben Johnson scheme, and he did a great job of it. They kind of adjusted their scheme a little bit, and he was fantastic in the middle. Leaves a big void there. Not only that, when you look at the Bears, Trapillo, the left tackle, is also probably going to be out at least
He'll be
until
back like week 14.
Yeah, he's had a major injury at left tackle. So now all of a sudden you look at a team strength from a year ago. You don't have your starting center. You don't have your starting left tackle.
Those are the two most important.
Do they bring back Jones? Remember, Broderick Jones was the left tackle. He's an unrestricted free agent. Do you consider that? What do you do at left tackle?
Does this put them at the top of the list to go out and get Tyler Linderbaum, who's your #1 ranked free agent?
That'd be pretty pricey for that. you're paying a lot of money for the left guard, you're paying a lot of money for the right guard, and it'd be, I mean, you're talking about getting way up there with the Linderbaum money. I don't know if they can really afford to do that, particularly when you look at what they had on the defensive side of the ball and all the issues they had there. I don't think they will. I think this is going to be one of those situations. Cade Mays, there's a name, the center from Carolina. He's an unrestricted free agent. There's some talk that they might not bring him back in Carolina. If he's on the market, maybe that's the kind of guy you go get and put him in.
You got to make a choice here, okay? If you're Ben Johnson, if you're Ryan Poles, are we going to get a fire-breathing dragon that rushes the passer by the name of Max Crosby, or are we going to go get Tyler Linderbaum
or
to
Hendrickson,
the middle, or Hendrickson? There's a couple options there, and I think you and I, having watched this football team and studied them, they're going to shore up that defense.
Have to.
Dan Rochar, their offensive line coach, he will be tasked with the special operation of bringing in somebody that can play center and tie together those two guards.
Well, Bates is there too, isn't he?
And
Bates?
he had a lot of snaps this year too.
Yeah, so I mean, they have guys that they maybe if they want to plug and play. I think their money has to be spent on the defensive side of the ball.
All right, we're going to see what the Bears have to do.
We're in agreement.
Talking about free agency, it's already been a very busy offseason. The Rams GM Les Snead talking about their plans this